The last season was a short season, but skybase dominated the entire prize pools. Hello guys, welcome to Shiro channel. In this video, I'm gonna tell you guys what was the key to win the game in CCC finals. At the last season, there were 3 sessions of CCC. There were 5 duos get dollars at finals. In the first week, I won in NL West. In week 2, Miss School in Brazil, Nazar in NL West won. In week 3, Yumehe's duo earned in Middle East. There may be other duos who earned on skybase at finals, but I gotta talk about these 5 duos because they qualified open with skybase. Actually, it was not easy to qualify open with skybase. As far as I investigated, there were 15 duos qualified to finals. This number includes those who qualified multiple times like me. I qualified 4 times, and no one earned twice or more at finals. Actually, there were only 1 duo who dropped at this split and qualified to finals with skybase, and they moved to the same spot as Naz in finals. 15 qualified duos' main drop spot was here. This spot apparently looks good for skybase. There are metals with insanely good efficiency. There are fishing spots too. However, there are almost no alternative metal spot if here is contested. Also, this spot is located in the edge of the entire island. The island of Fortnite is square rather than circle. In general, side of the square has rotational advantage than the edge of the square. For example, the max far zone from here is the blue line, but the max far zone from the edge is the red line. In this type of the zone, duos dropped at the side can choose 3 plays to start skybase, but those who dropped at the edge have only 2 choices. Also, in case of you dropped at the side, you can avoid contested side when you start climbing up. Generally, in case of the far zones, players are forced to fight each other at the edge of the zone, and some of them are kicked out of the zone, and some other people reboot their mate outside of the zone. In this case, starting skybase will be very hard. Dropping at the side and getting 3 choices to start skybase will allow you to choose uncontested side. However, if you have 3 choices to where to start skybase, you can choose free side. Also, in case of duo, it is necessary to farm full metals. However, the amount of metals needed is only 1000. In case of trios, 1500 metals are needed to make cap metals for 3 people. There are 2 duos drop out here earned in finals. They dropped out here, but there are only several chests, and there are neither metals nor fishing rods. However, they rotated small metal spot and they finally made 1000 metals. This drop spot was surrounded by the small metal splits, and they were able to visit uncontested metal spot and made 1000 metals in every single game. The same is true for my drop spot. I farmed 400 metals and rotated to other metal spots to make metals. If you are confident of winning the fight off spawn and take metal spot at 100%, you should drop at where you can get 1000 metals. You should drop at where you can get 1000 metals, but if not, you should use this safe strategy. If you build the perfect skybase, there are of course the risks of being found and collapsed. As last week, there was a lift to go, so skybase got broken in a lot of games. Also, you may encounter another skybase. I have encountered other skybase teams several times in CCC. You need to carry AR with scope to chop another skybase. If you qualify to finals, you will face 2 new obstacles. They are surge and heal-offs. It is no means except for victory in the finals, so the heal-offs tend to be longer than open. Basically, skybase needs to go out of the zone when you start building up, but it restricts the length of heal-off you can play. The best way to avoid the storm sickness is to start skybase from the sea, but it is not necessary that you can start skybase from the sea. From my experience, I got 100 damage from the storm in total when I started skybase from land. One of the best options to solve it is that throwing bombs at the last moment. If you throw them at the final zones and the last enemy on the ground evacuated from the zone started heal off 10 seconds before the storm crossed, it will be evenly heal off, because they got 100 damage beforehand too. However, carrying bombs has another problem, surge. If you don't carry bombs, you can carry another stack of heals, and it increases the rate that you can out-heal surge. 3 duos out of 5 aren't duos through bombs at the last moment, and other 2 duos didn't carry them. It's season 3 now, so it was too late for answer to this question, but in my opinion, I don't think we should have carry bombs. If there will be no future surge, you should carry bombs. But if there will be terrible surge and one of mate will need to die in surge, you should carry heals as much as possible. And Pray the Last Guy doesn't have heals. The surge in DOCCC finals is hard as the divisional cup in trios. In case of trios, it was possible to out-heal surge with full stacks of heals, but in case of duos, the amount of heals you can carry is limited. In my opinion, it may necessary to be above at the 64 surge. If surge goes active, your mate should die as soon as possible and make the best of heals to out-heal surge. To be honest, there are no rooms to think about the last moment while getting surge. I have experienced the final 4 times as skybase IGL, but there was another factor that makes skybase win harder in finals. It is the max push at the first zone. Actually, 4 earned duos out of 5 was in the first circle. If you are in the first zone, you can farm mats and fish for a long time. Actually, in this case, enemies who also are in the first circle tend to go to the contested side for surge attacks. So the free side gets more free. It is the first game of my last week finals in NA West. The first zone was max push, so we rotated from launchpad to launchpad and rode a very long distance to west side. But we encountered enemies and I got killed. Thanks to my mate, I could revive and start skybase, but we got a ton of storm damage, and consequently it was fourth place. Rotating a long distance itself is dangerous. In the second week, Nazor's duos made skybase win, but the first zone was max push from where they dropped. Let's check out how they did. They rotated to the inside of the zone first and made the search tower on the top of the mountain. When Nazor was reforming materials around the tower, his mate, to be honest, I don't know his name, shot the MR and got search tags. In the fourth zone, they started to skybase from the search tower. If it is opened, as I mentioned, there must be still a ton of players outside of the zone, and it is hard to start skybase from this side. But in this game, there are no one outside of the zone. Everyone didn't fight and rotated peacefully to avoid storm sickness. For this reason, if the first zone was max distance, you should go straight to the zone and get surge tags, then start skybase from this side. Based on these discussions, let's think about strategies for the upcoming CCC. First, let's check what had changed from last season. Overall, the south side of the entire island are now for skybase. The masked metals were replaced to the new spot, but there are almost no metals in this spot. The splitting beams factories, there are still tons of metals, but its efficiency is not good. For these reasons, I decided to leave from this spot, and my new drop spot for CCC is the north of the first order base. There are some chests and fishing rod and this spot, and surrounded by small metal spot. It meets the requirement of my passive skybase strategy. Although this spot is located in the edge of the entire island, but it is possible to rotate a very long distance safely via launchpad. Also, the hardest zone for this spot is the southwest of the entire island, but it is the highest mountain, so it's no use of preparing for these zones. I want skybase if we encounter to that kind of the zone. As I mentioned at the advanced skybase tutorials I uploaded, it is useful to act reasonably to lessen the various risks. Thank you for watching. Let's meet at the next video. Bye bye.